Metropolitan Water District, which I assume you are have been dependent upon the water project for 40% of your water. And that was available up until 2007. And now you're looking at, instead of 40%, you're looking at more like 10%. And if your rates start going up, it's going to be because they want you to really conserve your water and stop watering your lawns and all that if you want to cut down on the cost of water. But you're going to see rate increases January 1st of this coming year and another January 1st after that. That's already in the works. So we're kind of blood brothers, so to speak. We have the same problem. However, for us, it's a matter of life and death. Our dependency upon state water is 100% at our ranch. We can't put down a well on our property because there's no water down there. And so it's been a serious problem for us to be cut back from 3.5 acre-feet of water is what we need to produce a commercial crop. And that's pretty true of most tree crops in the state of California. So let's talk about that 30%. That's where we are right now, all of us. They just raised it from 20% to 30% early this week. 30% is equal to 7.5 inches of water. And that is per acre. You can cover 1 acre with 7.5 inches of water with a 30% allocation. As I just said, we need 3.5 acre-feet. That's 42 inches. Now, we might be able to keep the trees alive with that little amount of water, but the crops would be absolutely nothing. And how do you survive along those lines? You don't. So what we've had to do, we've had to look at all of our options for the last 3 years to keep us going. And there are 3 things that we could do. One is transfer of water. Transfer of water has in the past been available from the northern counties of California. For example, if there's a drought year, natural drought year, and the rice farmers decided they could make more money by selling their water to us who need it for, let's say, $200 an acre foot. They don't have to plant their rice, they just sell their water and sit back and maybe plan their trips to Hawaii and point south. But in that case, we're finding that because these pumps are shut down from December through June, that those buyers, or sellers I should say, up north, are no longer available just simply because we can't get that water south. They won't turn up the pumps to let that water move down to us in order to supplement the small amount of water we've got. So that door has been slammed shut. As long as they're going to hold this water for the fish or send it down to the Pacific Ocean, for those 7 months, we can get nothing from them. The other source of water is from water banks. Now, there are quite a few. I think there are like 90 water banks in the state of California, and about 6 or 7 of them are very large ones. And the largest one in the United States is in Kern County, and that holds 1.25 million acre-feet of water. Now, that's fine. We can draw that on that water, especially the people in Kern County, but it's difficult to pass it over county lines. Unless you are growing some crops in an adjacent county, such as us. We did get some water in 2007 from the Kern County Water Bank from another grower who has trees in both counties, so he could transfer the water to us, and he had some excess water. So we paid $350 an acre-foot for that, and we're darn glad to get it because it saved our crop. The other water that's available, if you can get it, is well water, okay? And as I said, we can't put a well down on our property, but there are neighbors of ours a few miles away who have wells. So last year, for the first time, not being able to get water from the California aqueduct, and by the way, that well water we got from another county is transferred through the aqueduct. They put the water into the aqueduct that we're buying, and then the water is compensated for by the fact that that water goes on and is used. Some of that water might come to you people here. So at any rate, last year for the first time, we put down well water that was several miles away from us. And what happened was that a lot of the wells out in the Central Valley, you have to be careful because they have salt or boron, okay? And granted, the majority of the wells are good, clean wells that are being used in the counties in the San Joaquin Valley. And I think 30% of all the production in farming comes from well water. So, but here again, that originally, for those other of us who haven't had any well water, that well water reserve is really for emergencies for people such as us, and we don't like taking it out of the aquifer, but we don't really have a choice here. So at any rate, we put this water down. It's called a pre-irrigation. We have a pollination period starting on April 1st, and on March 1st, we pre-irrigate. We put down about 8 inches of water over the entire ranch, and actually this year it would take all of our appropriated water just to do the pre-irrigation. And what that does, if there's any salt out there, it pushes it down. And pistachio trees don't have a large taproot that goes way down. It's mainly surface roots that spread out from the tree. So those roots are all within the first 4 feet of earth. And consequently, by doing the pre-irrigation and forcing any salt that might be around down, we have good clean water, and we get a good, healthy crop. But this past year, in 2009, the first application of water, and we didn't know it because we tested some of these wells, but we got a bum well that was sending us water, and we did not know it. And instead of pushing the salt down, it was simply adding salt to it. So when the bloom happened and the trees set on these big clusters, and last year was an on year for pistachios. I don't know if any of you ever seen a pistachio tree in full bloom, but the clusters are about this big around, and there may be 100, 150 nuts on that cluster. Well, by May 1st, about 30% of those clusters would not mature. They stood there about BB size or a little larger, like a eraser on a pencil, and they never got any further than that. So consequently, we lost about 40% of our crop last year because of having to use well water. And this is where the pedal meets the board, so to speak. We would normally have had a crop of about 6 million pounds. This is a large ranch. It's almost 2,000 acres. We have 213,000 trees, okay? It's a major commercial operation. But we lost 40% of our crop. So instead of having a 6 million pound crop, which we've had for the last on years, 2005 and 2007, 2009 ended up with 3.8 million pounds. Now, that's a loss of 2.2 million pounds at a value of $4.4 million. That's what we got paid last year, $2 a pound, okay? That's $4.4 million that never saw the light of day because we had to use tainted water just to keep our grove going. Now, I think the crucial part of in illustrating, I think is the best illustration you can possibly make to show you the huge losses that are